What's up, everybody? This is Wes Harrison and Tommy Lindstrom from LiveLocksU.com for the Film Room for the second time this week. To recap the I'm about to say it again. Recap the Open a little bit and talk some NFL. Tommy's on for the second time today, live streaming. How you doing, man? You burn out yet?
No, I'm having a good time, and it's what I've been doing all day at work too. So I've basically just been like sit in front of the computer. I've got like one of those stupid circle lights that like all of the TikTok thoughts have. So I'm just feeling myself right now, wearing my Hawaiian shirt and just grinding, you know.
Yeah, you gotta stop wearing those shirts though.
I got a fun shirt every time. I was like, I'm gonna go wear a Mike Vick jersey, and then I show up in a fucking Hawaiian shirt.
Mike Vick jersey would be kind of tight. I think everybody's over that for the most part.
We'll go with Mike Vick next golf outing.
We do that during when we talk about the Falcons.
Correct. Yeah, our AFC NFC South show.
So just so everybody knows, I am drinking on the job today. I've had a long day.
I'm actually kind of jealous. What is that, a Corona?
Yeah.
You can have any beer you'd like as long as it's a Corona.
Yeah.
One of the all-time great movie lines.
That is a great movie line. That is a great movie line. That's kind of what's inspired me to car shop.
I guess I'm like an early 2000s, late 90s movie reference guy now. Just doing Big Daddy last week or the other day, I guess.
You kind of are, yeah. I would say that.
I'm pulling them all out of my ass.
I'd say that for sure. So we are 2 rounds in. Now here we go with the golf question. Took Morikawa before the tourney as an outright winner. Should I sprinkle some on Spieth live? And what is Spieth's value live is my question.
I think it's 450 or 550, isn't it? Depending on your book. The short answer to that is going to be yes for me, especially because I still think Spieth is going to win the tournament. A lot of books are offering live boost as well, so you can grab him and go ahead and boost to 20%, 25%, depending on what book you're using. I know DraftKings is offering 25% a day, I think, but max bet's $25, which is fine. I think Spieth's 550. I like it, especially because you're kind of playing with house money, already having the Morikawa outright, so you can kind of just say, hey, I'm in full-blown Oost can go kiss his own ass mode, which is always a good time.
Set a record for the lowest score through the first 2 rounds of the Open.
I think he tied it, right? If he would have made that birdie on 18, he would have set it.
I thought I already read it.
I think he had to get to 12. I could be wrong.
36-hole record.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, man. He's definitely played a lot better than I thought he was going to because I think we faded him everywhere, and now I feel like an asshole about it.
Well, it was just the value. I mean, the last major he teed off, and he was 65-1, and now he's 30-1. So it's like, okay, well, can he keep doing this? And we keep
close. We were so close on that one. I would have been gold if he would have won that round or that tournament. But
yes,
it's what it is. I was reading a couple articles before we got on here, and some more drama between Bryson and Brooks.
Because of what Brooks said after the. Bryson yesterday was bitching about his driver, said it sucks, and then he apologized for it, all those things. And then Brooks had a nice day-to-day shot, I think, 4 or 5 under. And after the round, he said, was driving the ball well. I love my driver.
On
the best.
He posted it on his Twitter, and I just started losing it when I read it.
He's the best. He's just so petty, and it's hilarious. I love it.
It is. It's actually extremely funny. I just posted on the Book It Sports app. I might give away a baseball pick. On here, just to kind of liven things up a bit. So I'm looking. So baseball just got back. I did not have time to dive into any of it today. I went and did some car shopping, and then had to put out a bunch of work fires. And
he's been drinking instead.
Huh?
He's been drinking instead.
Yeah, now I'm drinking because of a rough work-focused day. So I'm going to test drive this car, right? And it just starts downpouring. So obviously I can't like kick it up and, really see what it can do. That was kind of annoying. It's like car. I'm like, man, should this be a sign? But
you have it for the weekend, though, don't you?
Huh?
You have it for the weekend, though, don't you?
No, I just test drive. I'm going back Monday. I think I'm going to buy that one I sent you on Monday.
Yeah.
So I was really liking a bet here, but now I'm seeing a picture, and this is just my first kind of glance at everything. But like I was looking at the Giants and Cardinals game over 7.5. I thought Logan Webb was pitching, but it looks like it's going to be Gausman pitching. So I think we're probably going to avoid that. I do, however, like the Reds today -1.5 against Adrian Hauser because they are absolute trash. The Brewers are.
Everybody stinks.
I mean, we're directly out of the All-Star break. I think everybody's a little bit more relaxed, right? So hopefully everybody comes in and gets ready to go.
I like how Book It's all like. I'm sorry. I like how Book It's all like, we got our asses kicked in baseball the first half. We're ready for the break. Let's regroup. Here comes the break, and they're like, all right, second half. Let's go. But on the second half, we're going to be smart about it. And then 5 minutes later, everybody's releasing their plays. 4-teamers, -1.5, -1.5, 14, 5-team parlays. I was like, yes, everybody learned their lesson over this couple-day break.
I wanted to get up early. I had a awful headache yesterday, so I went to bed at a decent hour, and I slept pretty late. Then I had a chiropractor appointment, went this morning, went car shopping, so I did not get to any baseball bets. So I'll probably have some tomorrow, kind of get back on the wagon. But I don't really think we had a terrible first half. It was just for like me, it was like a bad 4 weeks, like right there at the end. Everything before that was fucking golden. But I went from 30 plus units to -0.6, in 4 week stretch, which is awful. But then I did get 14 of those units back with the Derby and the All-Star game, so that was a lot of fun.
It's pretty bad when gambling on something doesn't even make it entertaining for me. I just can't with baseball.
You just can't watch baseball?
I very much struggle to do so. I can the Phillies. I can watch the Phillies when they're breaking. If they're bad, I can't watch them. I absolutely can watch playoff baseball of the Phillies, but
I was kind of the same way for a really long time. But anyway, so my free pick for those of you guys that want to tune in, I'm just putting a unit on it. Reds -1.5 against the Brewers. I like Tyler Mahle a lot. The Reds are back here at home, and there's a good chance, at home they play very, very well, but there's a good chance this game gets rained out anyway. So I'll take my there. And if it gets rained out, no harm, no foul. But I think if they do play, they win the game.
That counts as a win. Everybody in gambling knows if you don't lose, that is technically a win. A push is a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy with the push.
So bet $50 on a game you know is going to get rained out. Have it scratched, and you just won $50.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's the best gambling advice I've ever given.
That is what it is. So, I could see this game potentially getting rained out. It stopped raining here. We'll see how the evening progresses, but I'm hearing rain kind of late into the night. So there's a good chance this game gets canceled.
Let's go rain.
If we get lucky, we get up a little bit. And the good thing about the home team, here's a little pro tip for you. Good thing about the whole home team, so I think after the first 5.5 or 6.5 innings, depending on what book you're on, once a full inning is complete, you get to that point, and the game, say it's completely done for the night, and they have to make it up again. Well, that counts after the last full inning, right? So let's say the Reds are up 2-0 going into the 6th or going into the 7th, depending on your book. We'll just say 7th for argument's sake. Say the Reds are up 2-0 going into the 7th, and Milwaukee gets 2 runs to tie it, or 1 run, and then the game gets canceled at the half inning or before the Reds are done batting. Guess what? That bet cashes because the Reds were up 2 leading after the first inning.
I'm sure
full inning.
I'm sure that'll never bite anybody in the ass.
No, I've had it actually
having them being down and the game ending early.
Actually saved me a couple times this year, so that's a lot of fun. So anyway, that's my baseball pick. Take it or leave it. I'm just kind of diving back in, and that's really me not doing a ton of analysis. Besides, I like Tyler Mahle and Adrian Hauser is terrified to pitch in the strike zone. So let's dive on into to the open, man. So you guys tell all of our picks or joined us on Wednesday, whatever. We gave out 32 different bets. Or not bets. We have more than 32 bets. We gave out 32 golfers that we had action on. Whether it was just the top 20, just an outright, or a mix of 20s, 10s, 5s, outrights, whatever. We gave out 32 golfers. Typically, we get to cut day, and it's always like panic mode. We'll be texting back and forth like, oh, shit, he's going to make the cut. He's going to make the cut. He's going to make the cut. I think so far through 2 rounds, I think this is probably the most locked in that we've been. Yeah, fingers crossed. Out of 32 golfers, we only had 8 of them miss the cut, which is honestly 75%. That's fucking phenomenal, right? We had Terrell Hatton lose us a full unit. He was a guy we were kind of strong on. But, I mean, we had a sprinkle on top 10, top 5 outright. Carlos Ortiz lost a unit. Molinari, Higo, Herbert, Sink.
What a meltdown.
Him in a minute. My God. They all lost a unit. Patrick Reed, I don't know what the fuck happened there, lost a quarter unit. Cantlay lost a quarter unit. So 6.5 units lost before the cut or after the cut. Plenty of units out there to be made. A lot of opportunities there for us. And you and I were just talking right before we got on. If this thing ended where it was at, we would absolutely kill it. Minus fucking Oosthuizen just being right there in first place.
Yeah, but we would have Morcow in the top 10, Dustin Johnson top 10, Scotty Scheffler top 10, Paul Casey just outside the top 10, which I believe we have. Koepka's at 12, which we only have him in outright. We would hit Tony Finau top 20, Connors top 20, Cameron Smith top 20, Brian Harmon top 20, Brent Snedeker top 20.
There it is. That's our guy.
And we've got Fleetwood that's right there, Kisner right there, JT, we need to go on a run if he's going to do it. Adam Scott, we just need one more stroke to get in the top 20. Neiman, same deal. Padraig Harrington, 2 back. Fitzpatrick, we have top 10, so he's got to get on a little bit of a run. And then it's Scheifele and Morikawa, Scheifele and McIlroy that we have outrights on. So it kind of my point is with them, if they're not going to be right there at the top of the leaderboard, get all the way the back the hell out of there. Don't cost any of our guys that we only have in the top 20 those little spots in there. So the real encouraging part is all of our top 20 bets are boom right in that 20 to 30 range, or 10 to 30 range, which is a nice spot for them to be in, because that's, like I've said a bazillion times, where we're going to make our hay.
Well, I think that's kind of, what you and I talk about too, and I did like a little pre-show write-up over on the website. So with having Collins, Spieth, DJ, Scheffler, all those guys still in there, just making the cut is just such a huge first step, because you miss the cut, you're screwed. You're not getting anything, right? Unless you take them to miss the cut. But, having those guys in there to still have a shot at those, because let's be honest, there's a few of our guys that we have outrights. There's no chance that in hell they're winning. Yeah,
no, Rory's done, Xander's done,
Ian's
done.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's quite a few guys you're like, okay, they're not going to win. That's why you invest only a quarter unit or, whatever unit structure may be. But there's still plenty of guys. The top 20 is very much alive for almost everybody. I mean, there's only a 70-man field. It doesn't take much. Top 10s are alive, pretty good. Top 5s are probably dead on most of ours. Who do we got? Got Adam Scott, Rory.
He could go and run. I mean, just make up 6 strokes over the weekend.
Who?
Adam Scott.
Could. Yeah. So it all kind of depends. There's a couple out,
The course will be significantly more difficult tomorrow.
Yeah. I think tomorrow's the worst day for wind, I believe, is what they're saying.
And it will hopefully be a little bit harder in the afternoon. Those guys can get out early. Guys I'm specifically thinking of in my head is Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood. Get out a little early, post a number, and then be in a good spot for Sunday to kind of get in that top 20 area and be good.
No, for sure. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a ton of it. I caught a little bit of it. Well, I was driving and my son was watching on his phone and kind of just telling me what's going on, which is awesome. I got to watch a little bit more yesterday. So kind of tell me with what you saw, because I know you watched pretty much every freaking minute of it. Tell me what you really saw those first couple rounds as far as good performances, bad performances, disappointing, just kind of your overall take there.
I think Dustin Johnson yesterday left a lot out there. Today, it was kind of the reverse of that. He got a couple lucky breaks, and I cashed in on him, which are nice. So he got right back in the tournament, which I was happy with because that was the only live bet we took yesterday. If I'm being honest, Oosthuizen's obviously been the best player. He made a real nice up and down. I think it was on 17. Yeah, it was on 17. He bogeyed 16, real clean up and down from a tough spot on 17, which I was disappointed in. But Spieth's putter is on another level right now. So give me that going into the weekend. I'm still feeling good about Spieth. Morikawa's putter is not where it needs to be right now. So it was early in the round, and that's why he was hitting all those birdies. But everybody woke up, saw the 64, kind of freaked out. And I mentioned it on Trent's show, if there could ever be a bad 64, that was it. And I don't want to call it a bad 64, but the quote was there was a lot of meat left on that bone, right? So he had bogey on 15 when he was only 5 foot for par. 16, he dropped one real close to about 8 or 9 feet, missed it. 17, good 2-putt from 30 feet. 18, hit it to 4.5, 5 feet, missed it. So he left 3 strokes right there that I know are going to come back to get him. I've just watched golf way too much. It's going to happen. And they're going to be sitting there.
Text messages, and I'm just like, holy shit, what is he doing?
Well, he was cruising when I was taking, and he was hitting long putts. He was hitting the 15 or so footer. And after 11, where he made like an 11-footer or so for birdie, it was a hell of a putt. It may have been even a little bit longer than that. He was minus 230 on the books. Minus 230. He was on 60 watch. So to be on 60 watch and end up with a 64, if you sat Colin down, especially because he cruised through the hard part of the course, that back nine is significantly easier. It was scoring way easier to the field today. If you got Colin and sat Colin down and asked him, truthfully, I guarantee you he'd tell you he was a little bit upset with it only being a 64 today. With as well he was striking the ball. He was hitting the 5 feet on the back. It was crazy.
So you and I
he just
talked
couldn't drain him.
About this kid. He's one of my favorites, and I know you like him a lot as well. And that's kind of been his downfall, right?
We said he'd lap the field if he putted well.
Yeah, he could just gain a couple strokes on the field putting, he would destroy everybody.
Yeah,
when you're hitting stuff with, just think like when me and you go out, right? If you and I go out to play, and our best shot for a whole day might be within like 10 feet, right? You have that's a good shot.
From an approach, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So this guy going out and just dropping dimes out there and just stopping it and right next to the hole and whatever and get close. If he could just make a few more putts, the kid would be freaking unbelievable.
I think his average proximity to the hole on approach is 19. So that factors in when you miss the greens, all of that, hitting greens.
Insane.
I don't think the average human being understands how absolutely, totally absurd of a number that is. That is absolutely crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. But, it's going to get tougher. There's going to be more wins, so he's going to have to figure that out. He's never played over. I really think the experience is going to come into play here. So that's why I think we're really going to be looking at Spieth and Oost here at the end. But God damn it, Colin, he's shut me up before, made me feel stupid before. I felt stupid all morning, and then when he's missing those putts, I was all right.
Become one of them kids, man. You gotta have something on him.
We had top 10. We had a top 10, thankfully, because that's as easy as it gets almost with him.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm willing to jinx myself with that comment, by the way. I'm serious. He can fall out of the top 10. I don't care. I'd rather that happen than him possibly win the tournament.
Yeah, we did talk last night about possibly doing that.
I know. And he was 16.
This morning, I'm like, fuck.
I know. It was 16.
That's 16?
So he was at plus 1,600. So that's what the decision was in my head. It was Morikawa at 1,600 at -3, DJ at 2,000 -2, or Xander at 28 -1. And I went with the one in the middle. I went with DJ. And the reason I went with DJ was because he didn't play last week.
Well, and that's it's a fine pick. Hindsight's always 20/20, right?
He made a little bit of a run. He's only 2 behind Morikawa.
Yeah.
And people, I said it on Trent's show. Holy crap! You should have been on Book It. Like everybody, it was so funny. Everybody woke up all within 15 minutes of each other, and you could tell that they all checked their phone. And it was right as Morikawa was finishing up, and people lost their shit. who did have Morikawa, like pretty much claiming victory, and people who didn't have Morikawa on suicide watch. I was like, whoa, let's everybody chill out here, especially because if you watched the way it ended, you'd be feeling a little bit differently about everything that everybody was saying. So I hopped on. Let's pump the brakes here, everybody.
So, yeah, I just pulled Colin's stats up. So his proximity to the hole overall is 33 feet, which is right.
Okay. So I was way off. But...
Strokes gained. No, you were off. You were kind of on because his approaches from 50 to 125 are 18 feet.
Okay, well, yeah, no, so, I definitely didn't know that. I wonder if it's when he hits greens, his proximity is like 17 or 19, something like that, where I said it was every approach shot, which I think that's where I may be wrong.
His strokes gain going to the hole is 1.5, which is
that's so absurd.
So, I mean, but putting minus or 172nd.
That's a big issue.
Yeah, and that's even. I mean, he's like out of the top 75 in every putting category you can have. So
he's like Ben Simmons of golf.
If he can get it going, man, he'd be a deadly force. That is for damn sure. Like he's here to stay, I think, for sure. But,
yeah. And he's got like one of those swings. He's got like that Adam Scott swing, that Louis Oosthuizen swing. Well, no, he doesn't. He's got that like kind of like slow, but he's got like a swing that I feel like it'll stand the test of time. Is basically what I'm getting out of it.
Funny. I was actually texting back and forth with my son's golf coach. We were just bullshitting a little bit this morning. And he actually, the words he used were slow and purposeful.
Yeah, I like that.
Purposeful, yeah.
I like that because he just flushes.
Oh, he does, man. I don't know. Outside of, I think Tiger's probably the best ball striker of all time, and most creative. But I mean, this kid's like on that level ball striking wise. I don't think a lot of people really. Now, he's not as creative, but he's
especially also pound for pound at this point in his career,
right?
Like, what he's doing at this early in his career is just stupid. He's never played in an Open Championship before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oosthuizen's won one before. He's done this 100 times.
If he can learn to actually putt really well and improve his putting, he could go on a Tiger-esque type of run, I think, to where he's just blowing. Wow.
Would you take him or Rahm to win more tournaments over the next 5 years?
That's a good question.
I think that is a good question. I think they would be one, too. Maybe Hovland 3.
I would say probably at
JT
this point
3.
I'd say Rahm.
Yep.
Just because of the putting. But like I said, man, if Colin learns how to putt to where he even's not giving any strokes but not getting strokes from putting, I think he laps the whole fucking field.
I think I would take Colin, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely a really tough one. I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, well, assuming he gets better, I take him. But as it stands at the moment,
this sounds crazy to think about because Rahm's so young. But I think Rahm's been legitimately on tour like 4 more years than Colin too. Like he's been around a lot longer.
Colin's what, second or third?
What's that?
This is only Colin's second or third year on tour.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember when he played the Masters and Amateur and just was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Didn't he finish like top 10 period in the Masters?
I don't know. I don't think so because didn't Hovland get low amateur that year?
He might have. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
I think Morikawa may have been the low amateur at a U.S. Open. I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Any other takeaways you got, man? Still riding Spieth. We're still looking.
I still think Spieth's going to do it. I really do. I have that faith in him. Like the way I get with Justin Thomas sometimes, where I just like think every single shot he's going to hit is going to be great. I was feeling like that. Like I legitimately was getting surprised when he was missing putts or hitting bad shots, and I don't know why. I usually don't feel like that about guys. I bet I'm usually like, come on, let's do it. But like I don't know. With Spieth, it's a little bit different. It's the way I feel when I have action on Justin Thomas and he's playing well, like I just said. Same thing with Rahm almost, but I don't know. I still just like Spieth, and I'm just waiting for Oos to hit that wayward drive or miss that, and he's just not, man. So I don't. If Oos does it again for another 2 rounds, he's winning the golf tournament. It's as simple as that. But I don't think he can, and I think Spieth is going to continue to play exactly this. Now, if Oos can keep it up, he's probably going to win the tournament. But I think Spieth's got another 3 under, 4 under next 2 rounds in him.
Yeah. Well, I told you this earlier too. I think we get to the point to where if Spieth goes into Sunday with like a 3-stroke deficit behind Oosthuizen or whoever, there's a really good chance he can make that.
Yeah, I would say if you're within 4, especially Jordan Spieth, you're alive. I'm not okay. I'm not comfortable. You're alive.
Not okay.
I'm okay today. I'm comfortable today because I think he'll make up at least 1 tomorrow. I think he can make up 1 or 2 tomorrow. So that puts him either 1 back, 2 back, even. But I think Spieth's in the final pairing on Sunday.
Yeah, I can see that.
And if he's in the final pairing, he's going to have a shot.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
Let's see.
I hope he comes through, man. I hope he comes through for Trent, too.
We got top 5.
I'm sorry?
Neiman's the other guy we got top 5.
That's still alive.
That is. I think him and Scott are still alive. I don't think Rory's alive anymore. Top 10s are sitting pretty good. 20s are looking really good. So I think it's could be an electric finish to the major season of golf. Hopefully.
We will see. It could shape up because you could get DJ right there. We could end up having Koepka right there. We'll have Spieth. We'll have Oost, obviously. Morikawa is going to be there. It should be good. I think Bryson's going to make a little bit of a run tomorrow.
Stop it.
I'm serious, to be honest. I am going to get a future in on Bryson. I think I'm going to take him to win a matchup or something, but he's playing bad but good. It's impressive that he's salvaged and grinded 2 days. I think he went 1 over, 1 under. He has grinded from getting up and down from goofy spots, all making par saves from deep. Made the like a 7-8 footer to make the cut. So I'm gonna take him to make a little bit of a run tomorrow.
I mean, I'm cool with him never winning again, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm sure Brooks too.
Now you got to have him like be a little bit successful for there to be a true rivalry, right? Would you pair them up in the Ryder Cup?
Oh, that would be a fucking shit show.
That'd be hysterical.
All right, so I guess you ready to hop into some football?
Yeah, I guess.
Don't sound I even got a background switch and everything.
There you go. Check you out.
All right. I threw that together in like 5 minutes. All right. So we're talking NFC and AFC East today. We'll save your boys for last there.
They stink.
All right. We'll kick it off here, no pun intended, with the Buffalo Bills.
Well, let me swift through my paperwork here.
The Buffalo Bills. I did not have a time to get strength schedule together.
That's all right. I got you.
Do you? All right, cool.
In a way, I could just tell you with them coming in first place earned them.
Well, I mean, yeah, you already know that's going to be a tougher strength schedule. So
it earned them a date with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, the one's not even going to be a close game, probably. The other one, yeah.
They'll kick the shit out of the Steelers.
Yeah. So a few stats I got in here. Buffalo's win total is 11. Set strictly at 11, not even 10.5. Make the playoffs minus 400, not to make the playoffs plus 310. Division favorites, they're minus 155. Conference championship 650, Super Bowl 1200. Decent odds. I don't feel like there's a ton of value there in anything really. Maybe the conference championship, but even that's only plus 650 compared to everybody else.
I would say their best value is to not make the playoffs because you're a Josh Allen regression or a Josh Allen injury away from that happening.
Well, they got Trubisky now, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, throw Trubisky in there and see what's up, especially with a defensive-minded coach. Although their offensive coordinator is the man. I thought the Eagles were going to hire him, to be honest with you.
So I'm still trying to get used to this new extra game. Because, like, I'm looking at it, and then I forget about it when I'm thinking of the win totals. And then when I want to give it out, I'm like, oh, shit, there's a 17th game, right?
Right.
So,
and they went 13-3 last year with an extra game, and Vegas has them at 11.
Yeah. I think there's more. I like the under a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to bet it.
Yes, I do, too. That's what I'm getting
at. But I do like the under. I got that wrote down here. It's minus 110, decent. decent juice, nothing crazy. I mean, even the over is -110. So it's all, and it was this, a couple days ago when I did all this. So it's kind of flatline right there around everything. It's not crazy juice either way. A couple important stats. They were fifth in pass blocking. Great. They didn't see a stacked box a lot, so everybody's spreading out. Josh Allen, though, under pressure was PFF's 8th best rated quarterback.
I believe that. He was incredibly innovative with his
I
legs.
thought he should have won the MVP last year.
Is that the right word I'm looking for? Innovative? Yeah, no, I can see that. Rodgers, those last 3 games, though, he pulled away those last 3-4 games. And Josh Allen, there was a game week 15 or 16. He really struggled, and they ended up winning the game. But he wasn't good at all. I'd like to see if we could pull those stat outs up. And that was the nail in the coffin right then. We knew it.
Yeah, I mean, he was so important to the whole team all year long, man. It was Stephon Diggs. Dude, I was so wrong about that one, though. I thought Diggs going to Buffalo, I'm like, I'm not going to touch him. And he's the number 1 receiver for fantasy. And I'm just like, son of a bitch.
No, especially because, like, one of my rule of thumbs with fantasy is I don't like guys changing teams, especially wide receivers. And, that was.
Yeah, because they're always full of drama.
Right, yeah. Usually, if a good receiver's changing teams, you're exactly right. So, like, I was off on DeAndre Hopkins last year, and I was off on Diggs, and that was dumb. Both.
See, Hopkins I love just because I think Hopkins is an absolute stud. And I always like his talent, but I was like, I haven't seen that Hopkins-level production. Man, got it this year, this past year. He was a beast. Let's see, 11th most pass attempts or passing plays, I should say. Didn't run the ball a lot, so this is kind of – I think where things are going to get interesting, right? So they added Trubisky to back up Josh Allen, which is a really good move. Like we joke around, but if he goes down, Trubisky can step in and do a little something. He's a good backup. They added Emmanuel Sanders. I absolutely fucking love that. They added Matt Breida. They added Jacob Hollister for a tight end, which they need because Dawson Knox is kind of iffy. Then they went out and drafted Basham and Rousseau. So I love the Rousseau pick. I think that's going to help them out a lot on the defensive line to get some more pressure. But honestly, pass rush, they ranked 7th in Pro Football Focus. So, it's kind of a different stack because when you actually look at their sacks, they didn't get a ton, but they got enough pressure. So I think that's going to kind of get them over the top in that department with both of them. And then I really like the addition of Emmanuel Sanders. I think he's got plenty of gas in the tank. Matt Breida, I think, is going to be a sneaky one, too, like in deeper leagues, because I do like Zach Moss, but Devin Singletary is fucking terrible.
Yeah, I think they've given up on both those guys. I agree with you very much that Breida is going to end up being the guy.
I don't know they've given up on Moss yet, just because he was a rookie, I believe.
He was, but in the playoff game, they totally just abandoned the run altogether.
Oh, yeah, they did. But they did that all year.
And they tried, so they gave up on Singletary, went to Moss, and then playoff time, they gave up on the run altogether, and then at playoffs, they tried to establish a run somewhat, and they used Singletary again. They got away from Moss.
I'm not a huge Breida guy, but I do think he's going to bring a little something to that offense and help them out.
But you're dead spot on saying, all right, if you're going to take a Bills running back, Breida, where you can get him is absolutely the pick. Oh, yeah. You don't take Singletary where you can get him because they're going to be going rounds over.
Got him in 12-team leagues. He's probably going undrafted.
Probably, but what we're going to be doing, somebody's going to have Breida.
Yeah,
absolutely. Going back to the Bills who they drafted, Rousseau, a lot of people had him or Kwity Paye as being the first defensive end taken. So you could see Rousseau end up having a real nice year. And also, a lot of people had Carlos Basham as a first-round pick. So they got him in the second round, which I feel like is good value there. So he could end up getting more out of where they took him. And the same thing with I think it was in the third round, they drafted a tackle from Northern Iowa. Spencer Brown has a ton of upside and potential. A lot of people had him going in the second round. So they certainly got good value with their draft picks. Their defensive line, like you said, wasn't horrible last year. It actually got better. They're going to need a little bit more out of Oliver, the defensive tackle that they got from Houston in a steal where they got him. Their linebacking core, they need a little bit more out of Edwards. He's probably their go-to guy. Milano's a little bit undersized. They seem to like him. I think they need a little bit more out of Edwards. They're more of names than they are actually performing. Their linebackers are honestly, they underperformed last year for the names that they have. And their secondary is excellent, specifically their safeties. Tre'Davious White is one of the best corners in the league, but their safeties are as good as it gets. And Poyer and who the hell's the other guy playing safety for them?
Yeah, White is the guy that when you're going against him in fantasy, you just sit your player.
Who the hell's the other? Oh, Hyde. Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde, yep.
And then I love their coaches. I love McDermott, and then I can't remember their offensive coordinator's name, but he's electric as well.
I mean, I was kind of on the fence about McDermott, but I mean, after last year, he really stepped up, and they did really good. Brian DeBall is our offensive coordinator.
McDermott was a legend in Philadelphia, and then got promoted and kind of got a raw deal and ran out of town, and that was just another big mistake by the Eagles. He should have been
one of many.
Yeah, absolutely, especially because they fired him to hire an offensive line coach to be their defensive coordinator. Shout out Juan Castillo.
All right. So that's pretty much the Bills. The only thing I really like there is under 11 for their wins. I think that's a decent spot.
I would take that under.
Okay. This one's actually really intriguing. We'll move on to New England. I think I read something when free agency started today. It spent the most money out of any team since like 1940 or something. With inflation. So I was like, damn, man, they did a lot. They went out, they got Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Matthew Judon, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. Aguilar, I don't think he's going to really thrive there, but he does kind of stretch the field a little bit and get a really good year in Oakland last year. Kendrick Bourne is a very underrated blocking wide receiver. So when
That's good for New England.
When you look at the way they structure it, they're going back to double tight end set. They're going to have Smith and Hunter Henry there. Double tight end set. They're going to bring Bourne in. They're going to bring Aguilar in. Aguilar to take the top off. Bourne will be in kind of an extra blocker in there. I do like Ian Harris a little bit this year. Then they went and they added.
Be careful with him. Any New England running
always
back.
Be careful with Patriots running backs, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have no fucking clue what Bill Belichick's going to do. But I do like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably have a few prop bets on him this year, I'm sure. Maybe a couple DFS slates. I don't know that I'll take him in fantasy unless it's just like really deep and he's still there. But I do like him. I think he's a good runner. When I watched him run, I was like, this kid's going to be kind of a little special if they decide to use him, but that's kind of the problem. So then they do all that. They go out and draft. They got Barmore, and then they got Mac Jones, who we've talked about a few times on this. I think that was a really good pick for them. I know some people don't think so, but my thing is he's going to play with Bill Belichick. I'd go get a bag boy, put him out there. He's going to be fine.
Except Cam Newton.
Yeah, I don't think – so my biggest question, I think, kind of going into this, who starts more games, Mac Jones or Cam Newton?
Mac Jones.
I agree.
I think Cam Newton stinks. I think they're going to struggle early, and Belichick's going to be left in a position where he's got no choice but to throw Mac Jones in, because it's not going to be like a lot of situations you'll see the quarterback change because, all right, we're eliminated. We've got nothing going for us, so let's just see what we have in the kid. It's not going to be one of those situations. It's going to be, well, we can't get any worse than what we have out there right now. Cam Newton's killing us. We've got to try to salvage our season because we've got players in other positions. We've got to get somebody better on the field. And I think that they'll go to Mac Jones at that point. But I don't think it's going to be because, oh, hey, the season's done already, so let's see what we got in the kid. Yeah.
One of my favorite things to actually do last year was to do live prop bets on Cam Newton, because I would take him to where I'm like watching the game and I'm like, man, he looks really bad. Mm-hmm. And I would take like a passing yard under prop. Mm-hmm. And then he'd get pulled from the game, and I would hit it, and I would be so fucking excited.
That is huge.
I mean, he played so bad last year. He's, I think, been washed for a little bit now. I really enjoyed watching him play at Auburn and early in his career at Carolina, but he ain't got it no more. I think
that's what I was going to say. It's hard to watch him. Watching him throw is brutal.
Oh, it's terrible.
The way his whole it is weird. It looks like it hurts.
I think Mac Jones does really step in and and I think he's going to do really well there.
I don't know about this year, but I think he'll be
Yeah, not this
serviceable
year.
moving forward. But I wouldn't expect anything this year.
I think he'll surprise a few people this year
Mhm.
and play decent. Yeah, I mean, he'll have growing pains, things like that. So their over-under is 9.5.
I would hammer that under.
See, 9.5. I mean, they could go, what, 9 and 8?
8 and 9.
No, they could go 10 and 7, I guess.
Or 8 and 9.
Under, I would say, is pretty solid there.
Is it? You said 9.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So they can even go 9 and 9, 9 and 8. Yeah.
9 and 8, yeah. Which I think that's probably a realistic. If this was 8.5, I'd probably go over.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think they have a little bit of a bounce back just because Belichick's too good of a coach.
I agree with that.
Division championship plus 350, conference 1,800, Super Bowl 3,500. You're not touching any of
I just think they're in such no man's land at the quarterback position. It's a recipe for disaster.
See, when you actually look at their stats too, you can tell like where the coaching's at. I mean, they were only 3.9 penalties a game, which is best.
The special teams is probably excellent.
They ran second most run plays, pass second least, obviously. Even though run blocking was still top 10, Cam held the ball for a long time when he had it. Their tackling was really good. Coverage was kind of middle of the pack. I do think their defense is going to be a little bit better this year, so kind of see how all that plays out. But I think it's all going to come down to I think Mac Jones could really thrive in the system with that double tight end set, though. And if they actually gave the ball to David Harris, they could surprise some people.
They have a good secondary.
They do have a good secondary.
I do like their secondary. They got good corners, J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore. They lost one of the McCourties. They got the other McCourty playing safety. They got a good secondary.
I think they'll kind of take a step forward, but I think it's going to be when Mac's in there. I would not touch Cam Newton at all in a fantasy.
God, no.
Unless you're like in a super bad bind on a bye week or something, you're not playing. Moving on to the Jets. They spent a decent amount of money. Carl Lawson from the Bengals, which sucks, but is what it is. Added Corey Davis as receiving core, drafted Elijah Moore there, brought in Tevin Coleman, drafted Michael Carter.
Like him.
I do too. Then obviously they got Vera Tucker and Zach Wilson in the draft. They had a really good draft. We talked about that. Bringing in those guys, I think, kind of helps that offense out quite a bit. One thing I'm curious, how do we think Wilson's going to do? What kind of impact we think Moore's going to have? And I'm really intrigued by this running back situation because they brought Tevin Coleman in on a one-year deal, I believe. And I like Michael Carter. So what's going to happen there? Is that going to be a two-headed monster? Is it going to be Tevin Coleman kind of starts and then you kind of see what would happen with Akers as he just touches slowly go down while Carter's increase? Yeah. For me, I'm thinking Carter will eventually take the role over. I hope Tevin Coleman does good. I've always liked the kid. He just can't stay healthy. I mean, he's always been outshined by whoever else is on his team, too.
And the one thing for me that's like kind of worrisome, I guess, is I would pick Carter. Obviously, he's younger, but they're the same style of running back. So it's not like we can say, oh, all right, you're going to have the early down back in Coleman because he's not. He's more of a receiving back, a third down back. He is more successful running when there's also the threat that he's going to be going out of the backfield for a pass or that the team's going to be passing. In running situations, that is not a situation that favors Tevin Coleman. And it's probably going to be the case with Mike Carter. Now, with that being said, Michael Carter actually kind of outperformed Javonte Williams last year rushing the ball. So maybe Michael Carter will be that guy that's the early down lead back. So
he turned some heads there when Javonte wasn't in for whichever reason.
Even when he wasn't, or when he was playing, but just not on the field. Absolutely. Michael Carter is absolutely somebody I'm going to be targeting in the 7th, 8th round of leagues. Because
he's definitely a guy I'm looking at. Like I went for a flex type player.
Oh, absolutely.
Like some RB2, high RB2 upside.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if something happens to Coleman, he might turn to like RB1 type upside.
No, he will. He'll get 25 touches a game.
Yeah, depending on what they do there, we'll have to see what their philosophy is there. But from what I've heard, they're going to be pretty heavy running. But I kind of have a hard time believing that bringing in Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. What do you think about Elijah Moore?
Well, I've been on record saying that I like him. I think he's scrappy. He reminds me Zach Wilson and Eli Moore will be the next like Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin was the kind of analogy I was using because Doug Baldwin, he's not like that. Because he's like that scrappy guy. He can play outside, he can play inside, he can go over the middle, he can go win a ball up in the air. He can kind of do everything. He's a dog. New York is going to really freaking like that dude. So I like that pick. I also liked the Vera Tucker pick a lot. I really liked what the Jets did. I actually have a future on the Jets to win
the A. About it the day after, like holy shit, they had a really good draft.
I have a future on the Jets to win the division. It's like plus 25,000 or 2,500 or something absolutely
right
ridiculous.
Now, their division price is plus 2,000.
Yeah, I have it like 2,500. I think
over under is 6. I do like the over there.
I bet them to win the division a while ago, before the draft and all that, and before the info about Deshaun Watson came out, because I hurried up and grabbed them just in case they traded for Deshaun Watson.
Oh God, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, then that bet would have been. I would have been a goddamn genius.
I mean, division's going to be tough. I mean, honestly, going back to the Patriots, I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots somehow came out and won the division just because it's Bill Belichick. I mean, I'd be shocked, but I wouldn't be like, what the hell just happened? I'd be like, okay, Belichick won another division title. But I do like the Jets over a lot there. Over 6. Again, with that extra game, I think that's kind of where that comes into, okay, that might be a really good spot.
I like Wilson, too.
I do, too. I think we both talked about him quite in depth there after the draft.
That would be my depending on the values. I didn't get a chance to look at them, but that's where my rookie of the year vote would be going, or bet would be going.
I could feel that. I think everybody's going to be on Trevor Lawrence. They're going to be on Najee Harris, and probably some sprinkling on Jamar Chase. I think Zach Wilson's a really good spot. I think he's. I mean, there's nowhere to go there but up, right? So you can't really disappoint your first year.
So a lot of times QBs, if they do the damn thing, they win those awards, right? So Trevor Lawrence seems like kind of the easiest one. Fields isn't going to be the starter from day one. Lance most likely isn't going to be the starter from day one. Wilson is. If he leads them to 7-8 games and is running for his life and running touchdowns and shit, he's as good as rookie of the year. King of New York.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Crown them. Crown their asses.
I need to look up the value. We might have to give that one out.
That was my Danny Green impression.
Zach Wilson, rookie of the year. I'll write that one down. So I need to
what's that number?
List together of like all of our future bets so we can like give them out and shit. I don't know. I have to look up the rookie of the year bet, but it's probably pretty good odds, I would imagine.
Yeah.
All right. So do we have to talk about the Dolphins?
We can touch on them briefly.
If you're a Miami fan, just do not watch this part.
I think they stink.
I think they're terrible. I think Tua is terrible.
I think Tua stinks as well.
So they added, they got Jalen Waddle, which is a great ad. They
got Brisket.
They went and got Will Fuller.
Who's suspended?
Too. Yeah. Is he suspended going into the season? I thought
I think 6 games.
He served what? I think he served all 6.
Okay, I think he served 2. He's got 4 left. I know he's serving a suspension.
No, he definitely served more than 2 because I had him on my fantasy team.
Google that shit. You got your computer closer.
Yeah, I want to say he served the whole thing, but just would be back.
I'm almost at 99.9% sure that he's got some sitting to do. But while you're looking that up, I'll do some talking about the Dolphins.
He only missed the first game due to suspension.
Tight. I was wrong and right. So he's not missing a bunch of games. But he is going to be missing a game. He's still serving that suspension. So got to factor that in. 1 game. All right.
1 game.
No, I'm just
get it back, though, with the extra game, I guess.
Correct. They added a couple guys. McKinley, Duke Riley, linebackers. They lost Fitz, Breda, Shaq Lawson, Kyle Van Noy will probably be the biggest loss, and then their safety, Bobby McCann. But like you said, drafted Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, defensive end from Miami. A lot of people were pretty high on him. And then also Javon Holland, which I thought they kind of reached on, to be honest with you. They could have drafted Travis Morrig, but maybe they know something I don't. And then the other good pick that they had that I liked was Liam Eichenberg, that tackle from Notre Dame. I don't think you can ever go wrong taking an offensive lineman from Notre Dame.
No, not at all. One thing I thought was pretty interesting was their defensive numbers weren't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The third down, especially, they were actually first in third down efficiency on defense.
Is that right?
Yeah.
My notes on them were that their offense stinks.
Offense stinks right at the top.
That's really like, because I write like the team stats and things like that, and like a couple notes I want to say about them. And the only thing I've got for them is offense stinks, Tua stinks, Fuller suspended. That's all I have.
That's good shit. There we go. We're going to scroll out the bottom for a little bit.
What's that? Miami's offense stinks. But the receiving core and tight end, I mean, their skill positions aren't horrible. They've got no quarterback, no running back. But Devontae Parker was still doing the damn thing last year. I like what they've got in Waddle. They'll have Speed and Fuller. Gesicki, I'm a big fan of.
Gesicki, yeah. I
love that dude.
I like Gaskin's going to be like an RB2 guy for me. I mean, especially with Breida gone now, I think he'll get more carries. We won't have to really worry about Breida coming in and taking his carries. But I mean, their receiving core is really good. That being said, they still don't have anybody throwing the ball.
There's going to be some no-name whoever here, write this one down. The person who leads the Dolphins in rushing this year, we don't know who their name is right now. I'm going to say that. So, and the analogy I'll use is James Robinson. That guy is going to lead the Dolphins in rushing this year. I don't know who the hell it is. I don't know what their name is, where they're at on the depth chart, but Gaskin is not going to be the guy in Miami.
Dolphins rushing leader is an unknown guy.
Yeah.
Got to wrote down here.
So it'll be like the situation where James Robinson basically became the starting running back in Jacksonville a week and a half before the season because of COVID, right? And then just took a hold of the job and didn't give it up. Something like that's going to happen.
I got a hot take on the Dolphins, too.
What, they stink?
Tua gets traded by the deadline.
Really?
Yes.
It's got no value, though.
There was already
really fucked up drafting
about it coming in to the draft. They might draft someone else or look to trade him for Watson or whatever. Dude, I don't think he's good.
He stinks. They really fucked up taking him.
I think they're going to try to unload him. Now, if anybody wants him, I don't know. If the whole thing with Watson maybe kind of goes away, I could see that happening. But I think he's terrible. I thought he was terrible coming out of college.
It's going to go down as possibly one of the worst draft picks of all time, and here's why. The reason why I say this is because, one, they took him one pick in front of Herbert, right? To strike one. Yeah. But not only that, what was the domino effect of it? The domino effect was they were supposed to be picking third overall in the draft this year, right? So if they're still needing a quarterback in their brains, which they do, but they're committed to Tua, so they think they don't, but they actually do, they stay there, take Lance, take Fields, take Mac Jones. They take a quarterback, right? So my point is they then move back 6, 12. They're all over the place. But my point is they passed on Herbert. They now pass on Fields. They now pass on – we can't include Wilson or Lawrence in that, but we can include Fields on it because they literally did pass on him, Lance, and Mac Jones. All of those players are now a part of who the Dolphins don't have because they drafted Tua, right? Yeah. So that's something that's going to have to be factored in when we say, well, damn, not only did they not get Herbert, they took Tua. Well, they also didn't get those guys next year because they thought they had something in Tua.
See, when you take a guy like that, too, you're setting your franchise back 4 or 5 years. And
more than that, probably.
The worst part about it is they are actually doing a really fucking good job getting players from free agency, from trades, from the draft, but they don't have that centerpiece and that staple head that they need, right? If you throw a guy like Deshaun Watson on this team, they're pretty damn good.
You ready for this? Do you know who they are the next 4 to 5 years? They're the Bears of the last 4 to 5 years.
Bears, yeah, I can see that.
It's the most complete team in the league with just a quarterback that's the young quarterback, so you're not paying him much, so you can build all around him, right? And they do all of that right. They get that stud player. They've got a decent offensive line. They've got a big receiver. They think they got a coach. They don't. And what's holding them back? The quarterback that they took second overall isn't who they thought he was.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're kind of on the same wavelength there. Their over-under is 9.5. I love the under there.
I do too. I will say something nice about the Dolphins. Miami is really tight.
Miami is tight.
Miami is tight.
No income tax there either. Division champion plus 325. Don't like it. Conference champion 1600. Super Bowl 3000. Don't like any of them. So it looks like just the AFC East. We're under we under or over Buffalo there? Under on 11.
I've got under on everybody.
Yep, under on 11.
Except
on
the
Buffalo,
Jets.
under 9.5 on Miami. Over 6 on the Jets. A little sprinkle on the Jets as a division winner. I do like that a little bit. Zach Wilson, Rookie of the Year.
We got to look up Tua's passing yards for the year and bet that under because we'll just bank on him getting benched.
We're traded. That's
We're traded.
I got to write that one down too. Tua gets traded by the deadline.
That would be a hell of a call because you don't see quarterbacks get traded mid-year.
No, especially not second-year guys.
Nope.
That kind of does it for the AFC East. So, are you taking the Jets to win the AFC East, or are you just
Well, I already did.
value?
So, of all the values, yeah, that would be my pick. I think that's the best value.
Who
Because,
you
like
think-
I said,
who you think actually wins it? Buffalo?
oh yeah,
Yeah, I would agree.
if Josh Allen stays healthy, they win the division.
All right, so rank your 4 quarterbacks there.
I've got the Bills, the Jets, the Patriots, the Dolphins.
Bills, Jets, that's exactly where I would go. I think it would get interesting when Mac Jones steps in to
Mhm.
kind of maybe be Buffalo, New England, New York.
Mhm.
I do think, man, with that double tight end set, those guys I got, he could put up a lot of touchdowns.
For me, if we're looking at like the fantasy side of it, it'll have to be Wilson second, just because of the feet.
Yep, I would agree. Yep, but Tua's you just don't touch. It's not a great running back spot. I think we both like Carter for some upside there. Gaskins, Moss, we're kind of out of. Damian Harris, we're kind of out of. I think everybody and their mom loves fucking Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's a top 5 guy, right? So, Patriots, if you're taking one of the tight ends, who you taking?
Whoever goes second.
Whoever goes second.
So if Henry's going in the 7th and Smith's going in the 10th, give me Smith.
I can see that. I like
And
John,
vice versa.
especially being a little bit of a Titans fan. I like John Smith a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually surprised the Titans let him walk. But
I was surprised by both teams letting both guys walk. I guess I can see Henry with the injuries, and he got a significant little payday. But honestly, for me, I guess the answer would be I've got them ranked number 1 on the tight end side, but I think I would actually swap that out with the Dolphins because I'd rather have one go-to guy than 2 guys that are going to share it. So for me,
the issue, like when they had Hernandez and Gronk, you never knew who
yeah.
would go off at any point in time, right?
Yeah, you see, I wouldn't want them in the fantasy sense of every week I'm starting them in my fantasy lineup. I would do it DFS or not even DFS. I would do their props the opposite of who went off last time. So
Yeah.
Gronk had a big game last week. I'd take Hernandez.
I mean, it's the same offensive staff too as what Hernandez and Gronk had. I mean, you got Belichick there. So.
No, they're both going to have 3 catches, 45 yards, and one will have a touchdown or 2 a game. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
They'll each have 3 catches, 50-some yards, 45 to 50 yards. One will have a touchdown, the other one will have 2. Or 2 touchdowns, none, whatever.
All right, so I'm going to let you kind of take a lot of this division since it's your division there. So NFC East, we'll start off with Dallas. One thing I'll say, I mean, obviously they re-signed Dak, brought in Micah Parsons, replaced John Lee, who retired.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, man, they really didn't do a fuck ton.
No, especially because their secondary and linebackers, specifically their secondary, is such a goddamn joke. And all they did was add Keanu Neal, who isn't known for covering.
Not really bad, but this was watching the games, and obviously being a Bengals fan, I was kind of rooting for Dalton to have a little bit of success there, right? He had no prayer because they'd never had any type of pass blocking. So pass blocking, 26th worst. Run blocking, 29th worst is all Pro Football Focus. But they didn't really address it. Now, I know they had injuries from the year prior. A couple guys retired. And last year, they were just abysmal to watch. It didn't matter who was back there. they were getting absolutely throttled. So
Yeah,
not addressing it, I didn't really understand.
the left side of their offensive line is a joke, especially because if they think Tyron Smith is going to go play 16, 17 games for them, they're on another planet. He hasn't done it since 2015, and it's not going to happen. He's got neck issues. That's got to be as bad of an
Well, they're talking him retiring for a while there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Their left guard, I can't remember his name. He stinks. Their center stinks. They've got a right guard who's a bona fide stud in Zach Martin, and then their right tackle, Lyle Collins, is an absolute stud too. I do obviously think the Cowboys are going to win the division. I think they're the best value pick yes, and I think they're the best value pick out right now to win the conference, and I think they're the best value pick out right now to win the Super Bowl. So I will have those futures. It's also kind of me protecting myself in worst case scenario of the Dallas Cowboys ever winning a Super Bowl. I have to make some money off of that, or I will absolutely jump off the Ben Franklin fucking bridge. Because that will be a brutal day on the internet dealing with Lakers, Yankees, and Cowboys fans for that day. It's not going to happen. They drafted Micah Parsons, liked him a lot, liked Kelvin Joseph. They got in the second round at corner, but I don't think that solves their secondary issues. Their defense is still trash. The offensive line, like we said, still has questions. I do love their skill positions. I think Dak could win MVP. I think Zeke will probably have a bounce back year.
So on Zeke, my big Ohio State fan, obviously, so obviously a big Zeke fan. He came out and just kind of set everything on fire for a little bit there. But, man, he had a bad season last year, and a lot of it's because of that offensive line.
Right.
And he
seemed just uninterested, though. He seemed like he didn't give a shit.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. He looked like he just didn't want to be there. He had no interest in being there, probably because his line was all fucked up and hurt, right? So I'm kind of looking at him like, okay, well, they didn't really address that line. Kind of the same situation with the Steelers we talked about last week, right? We got Najee Harris coming in. Bad offensive line. They didn't do anything to improve it. They actually got worse. I don't think the Cowboys got worse, but they're definitely not better than what they were.
They had no money to spend to get any offensive line help or any help.
This is going to have to be a team. It's going to be fun to attack their defense in DFS, and it's going to be fun to do those games like tournament format stack because you're going to want a piece of pretty much any game they're in if they're playing a decent offense that can put up some points because they're going to put up points mostly through the air. I think Zeke. I think he'll have a better year, but I do think he struggles again just because.
I love CeeDee Lamb this year.
I like CeeDee Lamb a lot. I like Amari Cooper a lot. I think Michael Gallup is a good little flex pool for deeper leagues as well.
He's like my best friend.
Michael Gallup. Why?
Just this.
Just this. You win one time?
What's that?
You win you some money one time?
No, we hung out in a bar one night for like 3 hours, and I had no fucking clue he was Michael Gallup until like the end of it.
Oh, nice.
It was hysterical.
That's fucking awesome.
And then he told me, and I was like, you gotta be shitting me. I was like, I'm from Philadelphia. And he was like, that fucking sucks.
You got a picture?
No, I didn't bother anybody.
It didn't happen.
I was at my brother-in-law, his best friend works for the NFL. So every year they get they go to the Super Bowl, and he gets to bring 2 guests. So it was in Miami last year, and I was staying at the hotel that everybody was put up by the NFL. So you were either in the NFL, worked for the NFL, or retired from the NFL in that hotel. So like I was the only nobody.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, so everybody you'll just be in the bar, and everybody in there was just famous. You'll just be sitting there talking, having a conversation. I just thought I was talking to a normal person, and I found out way later it was Michael Gallup the whole time. He was cool as shit.
So I don't like their division championship odds because right now they're plus 115.
Yeah, no, the value for the division is actually on Philly.
Yeah, I mean they're plus 500. I would think it's pretty good. There's another team I like though.
Washington,
maybe.
Yeah. I could see that. They had to have they won the division last year. It was only 7-9, and they absolutely got better.
Yeah, so I mean we can move on to that one. We can come back to some future bets. Washington, I think they surprised literally everyone with their defense.
Most fun defense. Well, were they the most fun? Yeah, I think they may have been the most fun defense in the league last year.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun. Chase Young came out.
And that's specifically why I say that.
And I'll be the first one to say I didn't think he was going to be all that great coming out.
Why the fuck would you think that?
dude, man, just like in a couple of those big games, he just didn't produce really well. So I was kind of like, what's going on with this dude, man? So, and especially going to Washington, I was like, okay, he's probably going to get doubled a lot.
And your boy Jackson had a good game, didn't he? Didn't Carmen have a good game against him?
Carmen shut him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but they were chipping too, weren't they?
Huh?
They were chipping him too, weren't they?
They were chipping. They were doubling him. Yeah, but I mean,
he was getting hit by the tight end, blocked by the tackle, chipped by the running back.
Over this guy. It's like you still got to do something. You can't go into a national championship game and get blanked when you're getting that hyped up. So, I mean, that's kind of how I think that's kind of the media probably doing him a disservice more so than anything. But I mean, he came in and just lit it fucking up.
Here's something I wanted to say this to you before, but I think now since you said that about Chase Young could be an appropriate time. You hold that. What's your negative against Fields?
My negative against Fields is the Big Ten championship game.
Right. Okay. So here's my point. You hold those against these Ohio State players, right? So you get these guys to the
not
big
just
game.
Ohio State players.
Right. All right. So you would hold that against any of those players in those big championship games, right? So that'll get a negative notch. Well, what about all those players who weren't good enough to be on teams to even get to that point? Shouldn't there be something that's factored in on them, against them for that too? Because they couldn't even get to those games. So, all right, these guys had that skill set. They were so amazing to get to those games. I don't know how we could then say, all right, they didn't show up in the biggest game against the best competition. They didn't necessarily have their best. I see what you're saying almost in the sense of they didn't care to show up. But I feel like if
they didn't care to show up,
like
you had kind of the same analogy with Sam Darnold when he came out. He was at USC. He was like the next big thing.
That's fair. I like that.
I watched him against Ohio State, and they absolutely shut him down. And I was, this kid sucks.
That's fair.
And he's been terrible.
But like we're holding like, all right, so Fields had a rough game against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship. Well, fucking Kelvin Joseph, the second round quarter from Kentucky, gave up 300 goddamn yards to Eli Moore and the Ole Miss Rebels. So where does that rank against? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, all right,
it's all
I hear you,
financial and stuff. But like when you're on a big stage like that, to me,
and you're the second overall pick, I feel you on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a top 5 guy and you're like that hyped up, it's almost like you got to do something, right? And when you got a guy like Sam Darnold that comes out and absolutely shits the bed in the bowl game, they're talking he's going to be the best quarterback in the draft. I'm like, wait a minute, this is the kind of competition he's going to see.
That's fair too.
Top 5 guy that doesn't really mesh well. Now with Fields, mine was a little different. After most of the year, I was kind of like, I don't really know what to. Tommy hopped out. I really didn't know what to get with Fields for a little bit, and then I was kind of like, well, he's a strong kid. He's determined. He's out there and he's playing hurt, all that kind of shit, right? So then when we get into that, he gets into the Big Ten championship game, struggles mightily without Olave and their other top receiver, right? So I know you hopped out, but I just kept rambling.
It wouldn't be a film room if I didn't.
Yeah, that's kind of your thing. Did you have to change it back to cellular?
No, nothing happened. It just went blank. I don't know. I honestly have no fucking clue what happened.
That's wild. So, I mean, yeah, that's just kind of my thing with it, man. I mean,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, especially in the sense of that's the competition, more of the level that they're going to be consistently seeing on Sunday.
Right. Now, I mean, if you're looked at as like a Mac Jones, right? You go in there and you shit the bed. Okay, that's fine. We didn't expect you to be a top 5 guy. But when you're looked at as like a Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or these big guys that come out and you just can't produce. Like, then I kind of changed my mind on Fields because he destroyed Clemson. I was like, okay. Now, I got a lot of respect for the kid because he'll play hurt. He plays hard.
Yes, the toughness was
kid.
Absolutely.
But my biggest problem with Fields right now is where he's at. I think it's a terrible fucking fit with Matt Nagy. Now, if he went somewhere else, I would have much rather saw him in San Francisco.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Or New England outside of Chicago. I think Chicago is one of the worst landing spots because he's going to waste a whole year of his career. He's going to be terrible there this year.
He may end up with a different coach being his guy, though, so we'll see.
But then again, that's a whole missed year for him.
That's exactly right.
So now he's basically going to be a rookie again next year, and it's kind of a waste. I mean, I liked Mac Jones, and I liked Mac Jones in a good spot. which he did land in a good spot. But Zach Wilson was my favorite in the whole class. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's kind of my – I do, I guess, hold grudges on that kind of stuff too. But most of the time it actually works out and is right. So
I can kind of feel you on that, especially with being the second overall pick and also knowing Ohio State wasn't going to win that game 2 years ago unless Chase Young made a game-breaking play defensively. They needed a strip sack. They needed a couple sacks. They needed him to do something, and it wasn't there. So I hear you on that one.
You got shut down by the local boy.
But probably my favorite future this year, honestly, like that I'm absolutely taking, that I'm most confident in is Chase Young to win Defensive Player of the Year, plus 800.
I do like that. I like Washington over 8.5.
Yep.
And so we got a little off track there, but again, great defense that got a lot better. They added William Jackson. I got another tear coming down my fucking face on that one.
They added Curtis Samuel, which I liked that one.
They added Jamin Davis as well.
Davis.
Samuel. And I think the biggest addition ever is fucking Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's the most underrated fucking quarterback in this entire league. He just lights it up. He doesn't give
He's electric.
Throws bombs, and just stretches the field, whatever. I think this is going to be a really fun offense. It's going to be a great DFS offense.
Hell yeah.
Scary Terry out there opposite Curtis Samuel.
Love him.
And I love Antonio Gibson. He's actually one of my more favorite backs here to watch. Like, I watched him a lot last year.
More favorite. I like that.
Was it, Thanksgiving Day when he went off?
Mm-hmm.
I had him in every DFS pool that I had. I had prop bets, and I live bet his props 3 or 4 times and hit it every time. Because he just kept going off and kept going off. It was a great matchup for him.
It was nice. I got him in the second round on my Dynasty draft last year, like just the rookie draft. I got him in the second round, which I
like him a lot. I think McKissick's role gets brought down a little bit. I mean,
he's a good pass-catching back, McKissick.
Yeah, he's great in PPR.
Mm-hmm. They added Adam Humphries, too, which I kind of liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted Sam Cosmi from Kissimmee. I don't know how to say his name. The tackle from Texas that a lot of people liked. He could have been a first-round pick. And then Dynami Brown, really liked that dude from North Carolina. He's going to be – he's like a Scary Terry kind of they've got 3 receivers that are very similar in skill set. And Dynami Brown, Curtis Samuel, and Terry McLaurin.
Curtis Samuel's one of those guys, too. I could see Ron Rivera lining up in the backfield.
Well, yeah, they did. He did that with him in Carolina. He was a running back. He was both in college. Well, yeah, he fucking went to Ohio State. But good news, Washington fans, you winning the division and getting a first-round exit last year earned you a date with the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks this year. So enjoy that.
That's going to be rough. I do like the over 8.5, and division championship at plus 250, I think is a pretty good bet. I just really, really like that defense, and I think that addition of Fitzpatrick is going to make their offense a lot better.
That could be better value than the Eagles at 500, obviously. Honestly, the Eagles have so many goddamn holes.
I know. You're not going to like my Eagles take.
They stink.
That's literally, we're going to rename the show that when we're talking about our teams. They just stink.
They stink. God, I can say that, though. Anybody watching, or especially if you're not from Philadelphia, you can't fucking say that. All right? So let's just get that out of the way right now. I can say whatever the fuck I want about the Eagles. Like, they fucking stink because they do. But nobody else is allowed to say that because it's like one of those like little brother situations, right? You can't make fun of my brother, but I can.
Right. Their like I was looking too. Their pass blocking was 3rd via PFF.
Yeah, and they were kind of decimated on the offensive line
category. Top 5 in most. So
they're awesome against the run.
Yeah.
They have a trash linebacking core though. So we'll have Kerrigan. I like that pickup. Fletcher Cox lives in the backfield. I'll always like him. Really like Milton Williams, who they drafted. Lost Vinny Curry. We still have Derek Barnett, who's my guy. Underperformed. Got to get him going. Brandon Graham's getting up there in age, but they're still going to have. I think I've actually lost Malik Jackson, but they're still going to be a force up front on that on that defensive line and offensive line. Which, really, in the NFL, if you can dominate the line of scrimmage, you can win any week. So for the Eagles, they win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Jalen Hurts
Let's hold up on the Eagles.
Hey, we might be looking at it. We're as good as division champs. Crown them. And then Jalen Reagor's going to come back. We got the Slim Reaper
Stop
and Devontae Smith.
Rager.
See how, look how just hilarious. I'm every Eagles fan ever right now. I just trashed them for how bad they stunk. And then in the same sentence, talk myself into winning the division.
Yeah, you
We're
did.
winning the division this year.
Yeah, you really did.
We're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. Jalen Hurts is going to run around like a madman and hit Devontae Smith all goddamn day. I love Dallas Goedert. Zach Ertz is probably going to be traded.
I do like Dallas Goedert. I am still shocked that Zach Ertz is still sticking around.
He'll probably be traded. He'll still end up being traded.
So at some point, he needs to go somewhere, finish out his career, let's tie it somewhere. I mean, he's still got a little bit of juice when he stays healthy.
I should send him to
the last part of the show, but you didn't went off on a tangent.
What's that?
I said I was going to wait till the last part of the show to talk about the Eagles. Now you just started on them already. So,
proud season ticket holder.
I mean, you pretty much just went everywhere I was going to go.
Yeah, I talked about their whole team. The most interesting guy on their team. What's that?
What do you think about Hurts?
Hurts, I am actually higher on him than I would have expected, and that I think most people are. He's a winner, first and foremost. I love the toughness that he showed. He's athletic as hell. He's strong as a goddamn ox. He's a leader. I think he's got a strong arm. His accuracy is the negative, but all right, so there's one thing that we don't like with him. A little bit undersized, but again, I like the toughness and his strength. Love the mobility. I think he may be, if you miss out, depending on where you're at in 10-team leagues specifically, if you don't get one of those top quarterbacks because you've already filled your spot, all right, let's get one of the top quarterbacks. You miss out on one of them. I think Jalen Hurts is the quarterback they're going to get late.
I think Hurts is a great fantasy play.
Absolutely.
As far as leading the team, I'm not really.
He is a leader. Whether he has the skills to then go back it up on the field is one thing. But him commanding a huddle, leading a team throughout the offseason, that is the absolute last thing I'm worried about with Jalen Hurts.
I thought getting rid of Wentz was a terrible decision, but, I mean, it almost kind of had to be done.
I would agree with that before the trade. After the trade, the fact that they got a first-round pick for him is
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you can't hate
he didn't want to be here. I feel like he got a raw deal. I didn't like the way the fans treated him. I didn't like the way Doug treated him.
Really big resurgence there in Indiana.
I hope he does because he deserves it. Because I think he did get a raw deal in Philly, but he wanted to go, and I still didn't want to trade him because I didn't think they would get the value for him. But once he said he wanted to go, and yeah, on paper it's a second-round pick, but if Carson plays 70% of the snaps or they make the playoffs, he goes to a first-round pick. So it's probably going to be a first-round pick. Yeah.
So Philly over 6.5 is minus 165.
I will be honest, and you will learn to see this. I am the most cynical fucking Eagles fan alive. I asked my friends the year of the Super Bowl. I thought they were going to lose every single week. Because I was just like, all right, well, this has got to be the week they lose. The Broncos, all right, it's going to be the letdown today. They won by 50. The Bears, all right, they won by 40, all season. And then when it got to the playoffs, we're going to lose to the Falcons. Barely squeak by them. We're going to lose to the Vikings. Kick the shit out of them. The only game I was dead confident on the Eagles was the Super Bowl, which is wild to say. Now, I say all that to say this. I'm the most cynical Eagles fan in the world. I think that's over 6.5 is the easiest bet of the football season. I think that is the easiest fucking bet of this football season. I really do.
7 games, you can go 7-10. You're still capped.
I literally think that's the easiest bet.
I think Vegas agrees with you because it's minus 165.
Oh, really? Then they should adjust that a little bit. They should just make it 7 flat, call it 120 in a deal.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it's because of what the record was last year, decimated with injuries. I think they're going to be stronger across the board in all positions. In theory, well, not the linebackers, so I'll take that back. But boring, they can't have another year like they did last year with injuries. Although I think I've said that the last 2 or 3 years. But
so you think Rager's coming back?
I like Reagor. I do. I think he's tough. I think he's going to have a good year. I think Devontae Smith leads the Eagles in receiving this year.
I agree with that.
Or maybe the tight end possession. Who knows? But that's another one that wouldn't be a horrible. Let's check out some odds on Devontae Smith for Rookie of the Year. Although I typically wouldn't say take a receiver for Rookie of the Year.
Here's the one piece of this whole Eagles puzzle I think could put them over the top. Give the fucking football to Miles Sanders. 30 times a game. But I don't know if they're going to. I'm not really sure where their head's at. They went and got Gainwell.
Kerryon Johnson and Gainwell.
They got Kerryon.
Gainwell is
all about that. I like Kenneth Gainwell a lot.
I do too. He's going to play Darren Sproles' role. So I think that will help Miles Sanders. Because I think they relied on Miles Sanders too much in the passing game, which he's very, very good in the passing game. He's electric. He's one of the best receiving running backs in the league. But to try to feature him in that running screens and all that while establishing the run was very difficult for them to do. And you could see that they were forcing it a little bit last year, and it wasn't doing them any good. They were getting a yard on first down, trying to stick with it, a yard on second down, and now all of a sudden we're in 3rd and 7 with Greg Ward and Travis Fulgham as our receivers, Andre Dillard, a guy from Australia, and Lane Johnson's stepsister blocking for Carson.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they got to give him the ball on the ground.
Yes.
Sprinkle him in there a little bit passing. I like how you said his stepsister, though. That was kind of fucked up.
I don't know why this shit just comes out of my mouth sometimes. I don't know where it fucking comes from.
The Reds and the Bengals most years, but I'm very optimistic about the Bengals this year. The Reds got me a little bit more optimistic, but I'm usually pretty fucking cynical on all my teams. Like basketball season with the Bearcats last year, you could scroll through my feed on Book, and I was constantly betting on some motherfuckers until the conference championships when I took them to make it to the conference championship and hit it for like +2 something. Right. But that was a great week. But I'm usually really cynical as well.
Didn't they beat like Memphis or something?
They beat Memphis to go play Houston. Yeah. And they got thumped by Houston. But I did take them to beat Memphis. Most time I'm the same way, though, because I know they're going to be just disappoint me in some way. That's kind of what happens when you live in Cincinnati.
But I'm hype about it because with the Eagles, I'm looking to sell a bunch of my season tickets. So right away, early in the year, I've got the Niners at home for the opener. I've got the Bucks early. I've got the Chiefs early. So we can unload those. I've got the Chargers in the middle of the year, Saints in the middle of the year. That's fine. No big deal. Hopefully they're competitive. But then 3 of their last 4 games are home games against the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Giants. So if they're remotely in this thing at the end of the year, the link will be rocking, baby. We'll be doing the film room from the link.
That would be high. Probably from Paul Brown, because I'll probably be there too.
Yeah. We'll actually technically be doing the film room from what the hell is the name of the FDR Park, Franklin D. Roosevelt Park is where we tailgate at and when I go to the Eagles games. Yeah, so any Birds fans, shout out FDR Park. Come see me and hang out at FDR Park.
What time do you get there? I get there like 6.
Well, if it's 1 o'clock games, I was going to say usually by 6, 7. But yeah, us in Philadelphia, Wes, we're used to what's called prime time, brother.
Yeah,
right?
we're not.
So we get there late. Not this year. We only got 1 prime time game. But usually, if the Eagles are remotely competitive at all, prime time.
Tuesday, but I think that's it.
But you have to get 1.
I think didn't I see something too that they're doing flex scheduling for Monday nights now? Finally,
are they good? Because the Monday night games are a joke at the end of the year.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's such a
terrible
joke.
Most of the year, to be honest. All right, last team, G-Men. I'm taking under 7 plus 115 value.
I'd be afraid of that. I wouldn't know what the hell to do with them.
But it's even money. It's over even money. It's plus money. I'm trying to think how to put this without sounding like a complete asshole.
Daniel Jones stinks.
Daniel Jones stinks.
Everybody stinks.
I don't like Saquon that much. Now, I love his talent,
okay.
But he just can't. You would think with as big as motherfucker's legs are, he'd be okay. But he's gotten hurt 2 years in a row now. Right?
Are they overusing him? I don't think they really are when he's.
No, I mean, I think teams are kind of overvaluing him as far as like, hey, this is all they got, but he really is all they got. Now they got a good receiving core. They just had
very good offensive playmakers.
They just had Kitty Galladay. They drafted Tony. They got Slayton, Sterling Shepard, who I like. He can stay on the field.
I like Shepard a lot.
He's always hurt. I mean, Saquon's good. Then they got Evan Ingram, which I don't.
He drops the ball too damn much.
My God, man, and he's so talented. I can't understand the guy at all.
He cost them that game against the Eagles on that Monday night.
He actually reminds me a lot of his Eric Ebron. I mean, he's
that's a good one.
More athletic,
yeah.
he's kind of the same disappointment factor.
And he's still a top. He's like the number 10 or 11 fantasy tight end, but he
Well,
could be 6'5". Yeah,
he could be a top 5 guy. But
exactly. Him and OJ Howard both so disappointing. I thought those guys would both be way better than they are.
So I wrote down.
Their offensive line still stinks too. They didn't get better all on the offensive line, which I thought they needed to do.
So they added Adoree Jackson on defense. That is really about all they did.
Their defense is better than people give them credit for, though.
It's better. Their run defense is
solid,
pretty solid that people don't realize.
Right. And I like the kid that they drafted from Georgia.
I believe they were top 10 in points allowed.
They were ninth.
Had a ton of penalties.
They had a Corey Clement too, the Eagles Super Bowl hero. Azeez Olari, the defensive end from Georgia, defensive end outside linebacker. A lot of people really liked him in the first round. And the same thing with Aaron Robinson. He could have been a second-round pick at corner. I think they got him in the third, that corner from UCF. So a lot of people were high on Aaron Robinson as well. I thought the Eagles could be in play for him. But I'll be honest. I kind of like everything the Giants have going on except for the right portion of their offensive line and their quarterback.
Yeah, I'm going to say, actually, the first few games I watched Daniel Jones play, I'm like, okay, this kid's not bad.
He had moxie.
Yeah, and then I think literally him as a quarterback, I kind of wish I could had a video pulled up that I could show, is him basically tripping, running to the end zone. That Jones. Do you remember watching that last year where he just running for a big long?
Yes, he had that that was against Seattle, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, fucked up is I actually took his rushing prop in that game.
They still won that game, I think.
They did win the game. The rushing prop cashed. I also took him for a rushing touchdown, which did not cash because he fucking fell down with nobody around him. I'm just like, dude, how do you do this?
The best was I remember that, and I think on Book It I said as soon as it happened I said the internet's gonna have a field day with that, and holy shit, they didn't disappoint.
So here's some of his stats I pulled today. Sacked second most times in the league. Passing grade under pressure was 29th. Average depth of targets only 8, which ranks for 27th in the league. Right, their pass blocking was the worst in the league. Their run blocking was 23rd worst. But they don't really have a lot there to do anything. That's why I like the under 7. I think at plus 115, I think it's a good value pick.
Daniel Jones learned the old Eli Manning sack yourself thing, so you don't get hurt. Just kind of fall down, and you'll fall down and take sacks a little too early sometimes, but you also won't get your fucking head knocked off.
Yep. Okay, so what do we like here? We like
go Birds.
Jesus Christ. So you like over 6.5 there, right? Dallas. What did we say?
To win the Super Bowl.
No, God, no, we're not doing that. You're psycho. You're fucking crazy.
Dak to win MVP.
I like Washington over 8.5. I think that's a good bet. And I like
Chase Young to win defensive.
Chase Young, Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Stud of the Year.
Not much on Dallas. I don't know. It's definitely under 7 on the Giants. Just because it's over plus money, I have to do it. So, all right, man. So if you had to rank your quarterbacks there, where would you go fantasy-wise?
Cowboys, Bird Gang, Washington, New York.
I see that. I'm definitely good Dak. I would put Fitzpatrick over Hurts, though.
Just mobility.
Yeah, I mean, Hurts.
But Fitzpatrick runs some in, too.
Fitzpatrick can run, too, yeah. But he's just got to – he just doesn't give a fuck. So
he's so much fun to watch, man.
He really is, dude. I like watching him.
It's hysterical because he's hysterical one way or another. So there's going to be that one game a year where he throws for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and is amazing. But then there's going to be so many games where he is playing his ass off just to keep them in the game, and then I'll have a chance to win it at the end, and he'll throw the stupidest interception and it'll be like his third or fourth of the day, and it'll just be the stupidest interception of all time, and I'll die laughing, and it'll be great. And then we'll watch the 4:00 games, and we'll watch Phillip Rivers do the same thing, although he's retired now, so that sucks.
He's gone.
Watching Phillip Rivers running around like a nut job at 6:00 in the evening, down by a score with 3 minutes left, was one of my favorite afternoon activities on Sundays.
You had to pick one running back in the division. Who you take?
Saquon.
Saquon.
I think it's close, though. I feel like I can make an argument between the first three. And your boy, who you like, I got it 4, but I feel like you can make an argument: Saquon, Zeke, or Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd take there. Honestly, I would probably
Go Zeke.
I'm gonna hope your boy fucking comes in and changes the scheme because I love Miles Sanders this year.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the answer. Value-wise for fantasy, the answer is honestly definitely Miles Sanders because Saquon's a top 5 pick, Zeke Elliott's a top 10 pick, Antonio Gibson's a second-round pick, and you can get Miles Sanders in the 3rd or 4th.
You think Gibson's going over Sanders?
Yeah, I know he is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that. I would think Sanders should go over Gibson. I love Antonio.
I do too, but Gibson is going in the 2nd round, and Sanders is going in the 3rd or 4th. Gibson's going right.
Are you
after
seeing that average draft position right now, ADP?
Yeah, and I've seen it in mocks. It's going Chubb,
ADP,
so it'll go like Aaron Jones, and then like a Chubb, and then it goes Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, and then you're getting your
need to do. I didn't even think about this. So for those of you guys watching, we got fantasy rankings up over on the website. We got the quarterbacks done. I got my running back rankings done. We're waiting on somebody do his. He's probably got to figure out how to download Microsoft Office again.
I don't even know how to type.
We need to add in ADP to our rankings. I think that would be a really good idea as far as just for that position, like where everybody's the consensus is.
Yeah, if you have access to that information.
Yeah. Well, I think we probably get on ESPN. I'll imagine.
But how do they know the ADP if there haven't been
Mocks,
D's? Okay.
Mock drafts. There's people
If
already
there haven't been D's.
fucking weirdos. So
yeah, I've been doing mock drafts. I'm guilty of that.
All right, give me 2 receivers in the division.
Give me the 2 best receivers in the division.
Yeah,
this year, statistically.
Yeah.
CD Lamb and Terry McLaurin.
I like Terry McLaurin. I wanted to go Galladay just because I think he's an absolute stud, but I'm probably going to go Amari Cooper. So, Scary Terry and Amari. I think CD's great too. I think that whole fucking receiving core is just nasty.
It is.
Best
tight end though, Jarwin.
So they got Schultz and Jarwin.
Right.
I think Schultz got a little bit more playing time there at the end.
Yeah, Jarwin got hurt.
That's one thing I wanted to ask too. So we already kind of touched on Goddard, Nurse. We touched on Ingram. Logan Thomas. Do we expect a similar year?
I like Thomas.
I like Thomas a lot too. I think. I mean, you kind of look at what Ryan Fitzpatrick did with Gesicki.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of get the same similar thing there.
Logan Thomas. People don't. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. Go Wikipedia Logan Thomas and see how. No, man. I know you, but Logan Thomas was a shitty quarterback at Virginia Tech just 4 years ago. It's so bananas what he has become.
Yeah, I was guilty of it too, man. I was like, actually, I think the Steelers game, when they beat the Steelers, I was like, holy shit, this kid's really fucking good. He's not just like a one-hit wonder type thing. Man.
And he was drafted to be a quarterback too. He wasn't like, all right, just to try to get into the league, I'm going to switch to tight end. I'm pretty sure he started a couple games for the Cardinals at quarterback when they were just destroyed with injuries.
Might have.
I think he did.
Could have.
He's impressive. I like him. Somebody I really root for.
All right, so we only got 2 divisions left. Which one do you want to do next week?
I think we should do the West.
The West. AFC and NFC West. All right, I'm down with that one.
All right.
In the South for last, which I think is actually that's going to be a fun one to break down the South.
Yeah, because man, there's you could see 2 teams could win. That's the AFC South and the NFC South. that, probably the Bucks, but the rest of them, I don't really know what to make of the other teams.
Oh, now we got the Texans. They can win.
They might be one of the worst teams we've ever seen if
If
Deshaun
Sean
Watson doesn't
does
play.
not play, they will go 0-16.
17.
Oh, fuck. Oh, it's 1-16. I'm not going for an over there.
I can't wait to see how long. What's the over-under on how long it takes you to remember that there's 17 games?
Literally not until we start.
Week 18. My guess.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, we have another week.
Yeah, what the fuck? Now so wait, if we got 17, wild card, division, conference, Super Bowl, teams could be playing 21 games, possibly.
Yeah, and the other good thing is I think we've got 1 week closer to getting the Super Bowl the day before. Is it Martin Luther King Day or President's Day?
Super Bowl needs to be a holiday.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it does.
Period. You observe that shit on Monday.
It's crazy.
You know what would be really fucking cool is if we could get Trent and Nick to do a big Super Bowl party out in Vegas. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no pressure.
No. And the golf outing.
Yeah, no pressure, Trent.
Yeah.
No pressure, Trent.
All right.
If fucking Jordan Spieth wins this golf tournament, he's got to fucking do something.
Yeah. Hey, clip that and post it. If Jordan Spieth wins the golf tournament, we have to do a golf outing in Vegas next year for the community.
If Jordan Spieth ends up winning the golf tournament, Trent has to hang out with us in some book it fashion.
Let's go. All right, my dudes. Let's hope Jordan Spieth pulls that off. Let's hope the rest of our guys pull it off. We'll be posting probably pretty much the next 2 days over there on Book It for our picks. Hopefully they smash. And that's about it. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next Friday.
Sounds good. Real quick, I'm going to be putting out any live bets on the golf and any matchups I'm going to be doing for tomorrow. I'm about to break that all down, and I'll release a couple because there is something I'm going to do before tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Probably matchups, though. Cool?
Yep. All right, man.
Much love, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for the support. Love all of you.